Hey, it's Leila Rahimi, and I'm back with another post-game Bears thoughts video. And the first one was so well received that I decided to do this again. And it's too long for some of the platforms to share or promote. I'm sorry, I talk a lot. So thanks to everybody who shared it last time and overrode the algorithm to help get a ton of views. I really do appreciate it. So I thought we would do it here again. Talking about a Bears win. How nice is that to say? They are now 1-2 after they beat the Cowboys 31-14. They hadn't scored that many points since London. That was the last time they had scored over 30 points. That was the win against the Jaguars. More on that history in just a second. But let's first start with what we saw out of the Bears defense. No better way to bounce back than, especially when the Cowboys scored 40 points and went into overtime in their week prior against the Giants. The Bears allowed 52 to the Lions in that loss. They come back and not only do they capitalize and create turnovers, creating 4 in the game, but they also only allowed 14 points. Really incredible work out of the Bears defense, especially since Jalen Johnson is out indefinitely. TJ Edwards was out yet again with that hamstring injury. 2 of their best players, and you were able to see it work. The only thing you can really say is maybe you wanted a little bit more out of the pass rush. Those guys were trying. We saw that. We saw some quarterback pressure there. So hopefully that is the start of something that gets worked out and gets improved upon as the season goes. The other part of it is I was really excited about seeing the Bears score on their opening drive in the first 2 games. They were able to do that, and they didn't do it in this one, but it didn't matter. We saw Tyreek Stevenson have an excellent bounce back game, and then the Bears capitalized. They ended up getting a touchdown after that turnover. So they capitalized not only getting the turnover, but they scored points off of the turnover, and it was a touchdown. Those are 3 things that worked in sync, and they are all massive pluses. I thought that was really nice to see too. Unfortunately, Colson Loveland goes down in this game, but we saw a nice pass out of Caleb Williams to him on that drive, and then a lot of extra yardage after the catch as well. So that was positive. The other big takeaways in this was, again, people are going to ask about how did Caleb Williams do? Well, he had his best game as a Chicago Bear. 298 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, a 68% completion rate, and a 142 rating. That is how you improve. We didn't get to see the week 1 to week 2 bounce back that a lot of NFL teams get to have, that improvement where you see it typically in week 1 to week 2. That's partially what made that loss so frustrating against the Lions. This time we see that jump up and that increase in production and output and productivity from week 2 to week 3. Okay, so it was a week late, but still a huge way to be able to build on this. I was the only host on my show on 670 The Score who predicted the Bears to win. I just felt like it was a good opportunity for them against a Cowboys team that had given up a lot of points in yards, 450 to Russell Wilson a week before against the Giants. So this seemed like a good opportunity, and they seized it. That's the best part about this as well. Not only are the numbers impressive for Caleb Williams in this manner, but it was also just what we saw. I think that the Bears have had center problems prior to this year for the past 3 years. And that's not an issue with Drew Dalman. You can see how he and Drew Dalman are working together, and it's in sync. There were times where they had to audible and it got really, really late in the play clock. 1 second left, 0.1 seconds left. Dalman's going to snap that ball. You don't have to worry about him, and that's really nice to see. The rhythm improved again. We saw offensive rhythm be a positive thing for the Bears. The cadence is still something that you can see not just as being worked on, but as something that is really impressive and starting to become, I think, not just measured progress, but also you're able to see that improvement there. And when the offensive production was really at its high, to me, there was a really defining drive in this game. It was absolutely the 19-play, 76-yard drive that lasted 9 minutes and 54 seconds. That was the longest touchdown drive in the NFL so far this season. That's what made it 31-14. There were 11 straight run plays in that game. So Ben Johnson said he wanted to call more run plays. He did it. He called out his team, by the way, earlier in practice, if you recall that. Called out the team, said their practice habits weren't that of a championship team. And I feel like the Bears responded, scoring 30 points. Like we said, the most since London at 31 was what they had in this game. Also nice to see. Going back to that drive, though, I think it's pretty impressive whenever you can see Kyle Monangai, unfortunately, runs the wrong way during that drive, loses 8 yards, rookie mistake. The Bears end up in a 4th and goal situation, and they didn't kick the ball. Ben Johnson doesn't care if it's 4th down. He wants to go for it, and they did. And what do we see happen from the shotgun? DJ Moore wide open in the back of the end zone, touchdown. DJ Moore was utilized in a lot of different ways today. As we saw, his blocking was impressive. That touchdown catch was something that he deserved. And also we saw him run the ball. So that was something that I think they talked about in the season, but you didn't know necessarily how much that was going to happen. We saw a lot of that today. Just real creativity out of the play calling of Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle, the offensive coordinator. You could see that. There were misdirections, that flea flicker I mentioned. There were other examples where you could really see personnel being used in creative ways, and it resulted in that touchdown that ultimately broke the backs of the Cowboys, I think, metaphorically speaking, when you see what happened. That was the one, that was the breaker. So just to have that recognition for DJ Moore and the utilization on that drive, I thought too was really key. This was a day where everybody ate offensively. Everybody was able to get in on the scoring and the drives and get some yardage. I say it's like making people money. This is where you get to make people some money because their stats look a little bit better after a day like today. And that's what we saw. 9 different Bears caught passes today. So you had, as I mentioned, DJ Moore, Luther Burden, as I also mentioned, Roma Dunze, DeAndre Swift, Colston Loveland, Olamide Zaccheaus, who, if you noticed on that celebration on the touchdown, flew over the back of DJ. That's worth another look if you don't get to see it. Cole Kmet, Kyle Monangai also catching the ball as well. So creativity out of the offense. Really nice game for Caleb Williams. He wasn't sacked for the first time in his career. This is the first game where Caleb Williams wasn't sacked in his entire career. And you see how the Bears are able to utilize that offensive line and make it work for him. They're not just using 5 guys to protect. You see Cole Kmet in there blocking a lot. We saw Theo Benedette come in when Darnell Wright went down briefly. So a lot of people are helping out to make sure that that happened today, and you were able to see it. Kind of interesting that in Matt Eberflus's return to Dallas, he gives Caleb Williams the first game of his career with no sacks. Cowboys, to be able to get the get-right game, unfortunately 2 weeks in a row for them. Russell Wilson thrown for 450 the week before. Caleb Williams not sacked for the first time in his career in this game. That says a lot about the defense that they're working with right now. Things have changed in a post-Micah Parsons era for Dallas defensively, that's for sure. So a lot, like we said, to talk about. It's a game where you want to go in on the tape a little bit more, look at things on second day, third day. We'll do that pretty well, I think, with the crew we have in this week on 670 The Score. There's a lot to talk about in a good way. We'll get the latest too, hopefully some injury updates on some people on Tuesday, and maybe even tomorrow. Hopefully we get some injury updates too, because like we said, Colston Loveland ended up leaving the game early. So just want to check in on other people's health as well. But Tremaine Edmonds, 2 interceptions, gets a game ball. There's a lot of good that happened for the Bears today. I also want to end with this. Ben Johnson addressed the locker room, and he got the game ball given to him by Caleb Williams for his first win as a head coach. And then he brought the team in and he led him in a breakdown, and he yelled, "Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good gets better and your better gets best." That's how you raise the standard. We'll have more, like I said, on 670 The Score this week. You can find me on some other places talking Bears and Cubs and everything else as well. Thanks for watching this one.